in stores or walk by at stores and they just get videos matching their hashtags. So because we deliver the videos not via the internet, we deliver the videos from device to device. That means a store can have 2 or 3 smartphones in its store, and there they have a nice video, maybe from some YouTube star from somewhere, and they make an announcement, if you want to have this video, go to this store. And of course the video, let's say if it's a beauty video, then it's a beauty YouTube star. If it's a fashion video, then it's a fashion YouTube star, and so on.
Yes. And how did you meet the founder, so the one with the idea? Because, I mean, now you're involved as angel investor, but...
the idea was for myself.
It was your idea?
Yeah, of course. So, and I think how the technical thing works with this, that you invest yourself in a company and you have the idea, and then you find the people to build a company with you.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's one particular way of doing it.
Yeah, that's the way I know. Yeah. Of course, the other way is you invest in a lot of companies and you just give advice. But in our case, the idea was for myself.
Yeah. So it all started with a problem, right? That you solved. So
right.
What was the exact definition of the problem that you solved?
Well, the exact definition of the problem was we would like to transmit data from a mobile phone to another mobile phone, like a peer-to-peer network, without having connection to the internet or connection to a Wi-Fi infrastructure. And this is a problem which is around, I would say, 15, 20 years, but the phones are just out since a few years.
So you thought, I'm going to solve this?
Yes.
You built the technology, or how did you start?
Yes, of course we have the software who can do this. The software we build first, and then we build what you need for an app in a business-to-consumer environment, that everything looks nice with the interface and so on. And of course you have to learn how to do app marketing and so on.
Yeah. So a bit about Berlin, because I mean, have you been living in Berlin before, or could you tell us something about like your personal background based upon geographical locations, so where you grew up, where you studied, and so on?
Okay. Well, as maybe some of you here, I grew up close to Stuttgart, and I studied at the Technical University of Karlsruhe, or now it's called Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, Computer Science, and I lived here in Berlin for 9 years already some time ago, where I did my PhD at the Technical University of Berlin and a research institute associated with the Technical University of Berlin. And then I moved a while to the US, where I worked with IBM Research.
Yeah. And why did you choose Berlin to start the company?
Because it's much easier. First, it's an exciting startup environment, and Videmic is a technology-driven company. So there you have to find smart young guys who are eager to help develop such a product. And this is, I would say, in Berlin, a really good place, because the people are there from the university, and compared to a place like in the US, the salary are still competitive for the company. In the US, you easily pay $160,000 US a year for a real
valley.
Yes. In New York, the same, I think.
Yeah. So actually, it was also announced we have a couple of more guests, and now I would like to also welcome our second guest onto the stage. You also already saw one of his scooters here. Hi. Okay. How are you? Yes, give him all applause.
Thank you.
Although he's late, so it's kind of... You're late, but no problem.
Sorry.
So could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Hauke. I'm the CTO and founder of eMio. We're doing electric scooter sharing in Berlin. Started a year and a half ago with 150 scooters, just for renting out for short-term rides like Car2Go or Drive Now. Yeah, in Berlin. You actually see our competitor here.
I thought so. I mean, this is your competitor, right?
Yeah. They just came into the market in August with BCG and Bosch.
Yeah.
Our big competitor now. And yeah, I'm here to see what they're doing and tell you that, eMio is the greatest.
Well, yes, yeah, an applause, please, of course, fighting spirit. So we were talking about Berlin and about salaries and about getting the right people on board. So it's not always, money is not always the thing, right? You also need like ambitious, eager people. How do you find those in Berlin? What are the networks to tap into in order to build something that is larger than even Germany, maybe become globally, really have an impact?
Yeah, so right now we're still a small team, so the core team is still the founders, so we're 3 founders. I found them by studying together with them. And our first hires were basically technical staff to take care of the scooters and so on. That was not so difficult, and we didn't have to reach out to the ecosystem in Berlin, which would be our first step to hire strategically to go out and see in the network people, and it's really been nice to talk to other startups, and you can always exchange, and you can find good people just in the ecosystem by looking around and who's free now. And
yeah. Because did the people here from Berlin, the technical people that you hired and approached, did they have the right mindset? Were they thinking big enough?
Very good question. Actually, I think...
You can also say no.
I wouldn't say no, but I would say if you develop a technically driven product, the first thing is not that the people who hire, they think big enough. The thing is that they think deep enough in the thing what they are doing.
What do you mean exactly by that?
I mean by that, for example, there are a lot of startups out there, they promise something they would like to build, and then they hire the computer scientists because they got the venture capital. And then the point is, it's like in a soccer team. If you just have the money, it doesn't mean that you get Deutscher Meister. There must be a team, and there must also be some skills a guy must know. You cannot say, I hire somebody with an excellent degree, that maybe he doesn't have the skills, let's say in particular in AI or in software engineering, which is required.
It's sometimes in Berlin it's too much a lifestyle, even for the computer scientists that get involved. They're not thinking really about like solving the problem.
No. There I would say a clear no. The lifestyle here is great, but I think this helps, for example, to attract people outside to come here to Berlin. For example, I know a couple of guys, they came from the Midwest in the US here to Berlin as computer scientists and are now working key developers in startups.
So what do you see around you, Hauke? I mean, you now have a very big competitor, like a big German company that is backing actually the other one. I'm not mentioning the name. So, I mean, how does Berlin cope with such competition? I mean,
I think it's great. There's now altogether 350 scooters, and that's still not enough for Berlin. We see that people love riding scooters because it's so handy, and they want to get from A to B, and they take a scooter. And the more often they can find a scooter, and the more often it is present to them in their minds that you can actually use a scooter, it's good for all of us. So right now, I don't see it as we're taking shares of the market, but making the market bigger altogether.
Yeah. Would you ever sell to them?
I haven't spoken to them. Like, if they're here, I'm open to talk. Yeah.
Okay. Smart. Yeah. I mean, it's also maybe a sign of the times, right? I mean, some Berlin startups also really build for being acquired. Some others really want to be world leader. I think this is not really the case in your company, right?
I mean, right now we're still the pioneer. We're the first ones in the market, and we want to keep the distance and grow faster than they can. Even though they have more money, we have the skills to make more out of our little money, I guess. So yeah, we want to show them and show the market yeah, that you can expand this business, but we're not talking about selling right now.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job over everywhere in Berlin. You saw the eMio scooters. You, for marketing purposes, put them also on the spots where you analyze the traffic. So everywhere you saw the eMio scooters, it was a brilliant move. So you are really doing a good job.
Yeah, most of the times it was our customers who placed the scooters very well. I feel like they wanted to make advertisement for us because they placed it somewhere where everyone can see it.
You're basically managing a community, right? A community of people who are very early stage adopters, trying out new ways of transport.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So about communities, you went to South by this year, a very big tech and art and music festival in Austin, Texas. I mean, you've traveled around a lot. You know other ecosystems. I mean, it's wild over there. Is Berlin almost as wild, or is it still, you still need to be in the US?
Well, I would say these are three questions. The first question is South by Southwest. Let me answer this. So South by Southwest, I would say, this is in Austin, Texas. It's a conglomerate of film, music, and what they call interactive media. And in the last years, interactive media was the fastest growing business. Even indie musicians or indie film producers, if they have a premiere at South by Southwest, so this is for them a great, opportunity. But in the interactive, there has Twitter, Foursquare, and recently Meerkat, which was a competitor of Periscope, have launched their app. But we made their learning that we applied there the startup competition, and we were the only company from Europe who got selected as 1 out of 10 companies in this startup competition, but there are 2 or 3 other startup competitions. But the point was, what I learned there is, in such a startup competition, the winner takes it all. And they say you launch a product that doesn't work for a startup because it's so big. Let's say the entire Charlottenburg would be out of British house, Samsung house, IBM house, and there you cannot compete as a startup.
So the point is?
The point is, it's a very important experience for a startup to go there once, to meet the people there. We employed our product at the film premiere. There we were quite happy, and we made a Hollywood film producer. We are still in contact to have them. So this was a big benefit, but to launch a product, for example, Lollapalooza at Berlin would be the same and would probably cost less money.
Yeah. Okay, so comparing the ecosystems, you would say that it's still better to be in Berlin if you have early stage technology?
No. If comparing the ecosystem, I would say if you have already made the learnings and you have enough capital to launch there with some venture capital behind, would make a bigger impact than to launch in most European cities, maybe except London.
Yeah. Maybe except London, yeah. But because comparing the European ecosystems, what would you say, where does Berlin stand? Because, you know, it's very easy to, because we all live here, to say, okay, Berlin is the best one, but I mean, London is still pretty big, right?
Well, I've never worked in London and I've never lived there. I just visited there a number of times and I spoke to startup companies. So I don't know how the salary structure is there, but I think I can just talk regarding visibility. And regarding visibility, I would say London is closer to the valley than Berlin. Okay. But maybe Berlin is the second.
Okay, and based upon what things that you saw, you say this?
Based upon that we have the opportunity to present a product or to employ a product at some event, that people of big importance recognize it.
Okay, interesting.
But Berlin, we talked to US VCs and they said, we can easily come over to Berlin. We are looking for companies to invest here. So therefore, I would say Berlin is certainly an exciting place for building a startup.
Yes. Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't be on the panel, right? If you would say this. No, joking. Hauke, what's your experience with American investors? Do they actually also come to Berlin? Is it easy for you to access them?
When we talk to American investors, they most of the time think about how we can bring scooter sharing to America. So we haven't been in deep talks with American investors yet because we focus on the German and European expansion first. So it's also natural that we talk to European investors.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do they also sometimes work for US firms, or they have, of course, like very close ties sometimes to American investors? Do they have a different mindset?
It's been rare so far with American investors, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of experience with them.
What do the Europeans say? I mean, what's your experience with them? Because I don't know about the ticket sizes, also not very relevant, but it's sometimes hard to get like a really good big investment, especially if you're in this combination of hardware and software.
Yeah, I think the combination is actually the key. We are in a comfortable position where we had already month of break even, where we can showcase that it works. Still, we're not a classical app case because we have scooters. We're not a hardware case because we're not having our IP in the scooter. So we're actually building a service, and it's only a particular set of investors who is interested in such a case. So it's really important to target well and to think about which investor is the right one for us. So it takes some research and then.
Yeah. So what's your pitch towards investors? How do you convince them to put even more money into the business?
Yeah, I mean, we show them what we've done in Berlin so far, and that it actually makes sense, and that it's only, like, it's very low risk to now scale it up in Berlin and in other cities, because we know what works and what doesn't, and we can just copy it and bring it quickly to as many markets as possible. So.
I don't want to lose the connection to all of you guys, so if you have questions, you see the microphones over there. You can just come down and ask your question. It's not necessary, but we would love to also have your input in this conversation. Is it so, Hauke, that when you think of Berlin as a test bed, is this then the most ideal place in Europe to be?
Definitely. Yeah, we chose Berlin on purpose. Also, we lived here, but we also chose it on purpose because it's very easy to bring a new product into the Berlin market because people like to try things out. They are open to new things. They live with a smartphone and with internet more than in other German cities. So it was very easy to get traction here in Berlin.
Yeah. About traction, only 8 weeks in the App Store, but what's the reception so far of the app?
Regarding, since the App Store is worldwide, there it's irrelevant in which city you are. The point our traction is we have more than 10,000 app installs and about 2,000 from Berlin. Because in Berlin we had an early adopters community. We had a private beta product since more than 1 year.
Right.
So, but the point is, in his case, he can try it out in one big city, and then, because there, I would say the hard thing is to find a customer.
In Berlin, it's not that hard,
okay.
but yeah, in general it is.
Yes, in general. And in our case, I would say the hard thing was to find the right people and to build a product, and now it's the App Store optimization and to convince the content creators that they not only publish their videos in YouTube, but also publish their videos in Videmic.
Yeah, right. So 10,000 app installs in 8 weeks. Are you satisfied with this?
Since we had put only very little money in the marketing, we are quite satisfied, yes.
Yeah.
Because you can easily, if you have a big budget, if you hear these stories in newspaper, in 2 weeks, 100,000 app installs. This is with a really huge marketing budget. Therefore, it's not hard to do that.
Yeah. And you launch in app stores worldwide, so not only in Germany, right?
App Store is always worldwide, but for example, I just checked tomorrow for video sharing, we are ranked #1 if one gives in this keyword. So that means a lot of people, early adopters who type in this keyword, they check the apps and then downloaded our app.
Okay, great, great. So what are the plans further on for marketing? Will you do it over the content creator network, or also will you do marketing for the brand itself?
Of course, we have to do marketing for the brand itself, and therefore we have to look for investors.
Okay. Looking into the crowd.
But that was not the reason. Since you asked that, I said it immediately. So that depends on what budget you have and where the direction goes.
Of course. Yeah. Are there already some questions? We have a couple of minutes. Yes, sorry.
To Mr. Lindemann, you said...
Can you speak up, please?
I would have a question to Mr. Lindemann. You said you put your software onto GitHub, so it means you're using open source?
No, not
Okay.
GitHub.
Oh, sorry.
I said I was here at the Hub
Okay.
conference. We have no open source product because we have a
Okay.
technology which is beyond YouTube. Since we can transmit a video from a smartphone to another smartphone without internet, and YouTube and any other app doesn't have that.
Okay, thank you very much. And also for Mr. Feldvoss, you're not using open source either, no, not related. Thank
No.
you.
Thank you so much for your question. Is it for you guys, when you talk about Berlin, I mean, it always seems to be like kind of the same story, right? Cheap talent, great place to be, to live. Are there also things that are not so great about Berlin, and what would your recommendations be to improve this?
Do you have a quick answer for that, so I can think about it?
It's hard to find a good answer for that. Certainly there are things, I would say everywhere are things to improve. But right at the top, so at least I can just talk for my case, we are happy there.
Yes, same with me, because that's why I was thinking, there's a good network of people, there's support by universities, government, by third-party organizations. So I'm feeling pretty confident here, and it's a great place to build a startup.
Okay. I would like to thank you for coming here. Good luck on the hub today. And
Thank you.
give them a big applause, ladies and gentlemen.